So I've been into Transformers since the late 90s. So I know quite a lot about the cartoons and the toys that accompanied every line that came out over the years. But one thing that is hard to get is actual hands-on experience with some of the key toys. Uh, Scarcity isn't an issue, what with eBay and Facebook groups, things like that. But locating them is actually easy to do. There's just a few obstacles that get in the way. Things like cost, the condition of the toy. You know, I don't want a floppy mess. And I'd like it to have, some of its paint. Uh, Interest. So, I'm not going to be a fan of every single Transformer. Um, and space to display. Otherwise, I'm just buying it to put in a box, which, isn't great because Transformers are made to be played with. But one of these classic figures I've always been interested in is the original Dinobots. They were first introduced to season 1 of Transformers in 1984. They were adapted from Diaclone Robot Dino, I think it was called, or Dino Robot. You can find countless Dinobots online, but if you want one in decent condition, you're talking approximately £125 as a starting value, and that's just too cost prohibitive for me. And if you want one boxed, then that's going to be hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and completely mint. You're talking potentially £1,000. But either way, I just know that I don't want to just buy some rubbish that looks like it's a reject from a charity shop, or a Goodwill. So I went online and I found a good deal on some knockoffs, and they've been delivered. This is my first Swoop, Dinobot Bombardier Swoop. Now, these boxes are phenomenal. They have high resolution images on them. The colour, I think, is a little bit faded compared to the originals from what I've seen online. But if you didn't have anything to compare it to, you'd think it was an original. They don't sell it as original. They are honest. They do say that it's a KO on the listings online, so nothing dodgy going on there. One thing I did notice that on the character bio, it says Function Dinobot Bombardier. Fear, Canar, hit targets, unreachable to bullets. So, little typo there. But that's because they've retyped the text to make sure that the font is crisp. The text spec looks in order. It's even got the robot points. Proof of purchase as an original barcode. And even has 1984 Hasbro Bradley Inc. Pawtucket, and made and printed in Japan, manufactured by Takara. So they've gone all out with this KO. It looks fantastic, looks great for display. Obviously I know it's a KO, and we're not in the business of selling these as genuine because we know they're not. But it looks like a great representation of the actual packaging. So I've already slit the tape here. It is taped. It comes in a little cardboard tray with the instructions. That looks quite nice and crisp. And in the tray is the plastic clamshell with Swoop himself. So I've got the plastic insert. Carefully take this out. You can see all the accessories there. There we go. Now, I've already taken off one of the missiles off the sprue. That goes in his wing missiles. They do have working springs, so that's quite good. I'll just take this one off the sprue just to show you. Plastic on the accessories, it's pretty good. It doesn't look quite as solid as, say, the opaque grey that is on the legs, but I think it's a slightly softer plastic. It should clip in. Yep. And fire. Yep. Do that again, focus. There we go. And got a sword. And now for the main thing, main reason why we buy this is Swoop. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to buy these is because I wasn't going to experience these for real. As, oh, it's got landing gear here. You know what, I never actually knew it had landing gear. That's interesting. Oh, you can actually stand up. That's cute. Okay. So you can actually land. So, where was I? So, the reason why I got these KOs is because I wanted to experience them as if they were new. Without all the floppiness of 40 years of playwear. But yeah, the plastic seems alright actually. It doesn't seem to have that overly brittle nature that a lot of KOs have. Doesn't have that powdery residue that a lot of them have, maybe from the mold release. But even has a little metal caster wheel there for the landing gear. The chest is die cast, so it does have some weight to it. And the chrome is pretty good. Hasbro tend not to do chrome these days because it is apparently highly toxic when they actually create the chrome, and it generally just causes issues with collectors anyway because it just flakes off. But this isn't going to be played with that much. It's mainly for display. I do let my kids play with these because, you know, they're not actually that valuable, and they haven't broken anything here. So my kids are 6 and 8, so they know to be careful with things. They know they're like dead toys, but no, you know, it's a good test. You give a toy to a kid, and if they don't break it, then that's normally a good indicator that it's been well made. The beak is slightly misaligned there with the pin going through. So it's a bit of an indicator that it's not potentially original. No, I don't have one original to compare it with, but let's see about transforming it. Now, one thing I did notice when I first transformed this out of the box is that there is like a little ballpoint pen style spring-loaded mechanism here, and that means that the leg, when it comes and transforms, sits against this, but it actually has a little divot there for the ball, so that when you go down, it actually snaps in place. Snaps in place there and keeps it secure. So I think that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. So pull the legs back, get the feet out. Okay, so that's a little bit finicky. Straighten the legs out, and then telescope them and slide them in place like so. The chest panel needs to be separated. I find it easy if you just do one at the bottom and then try the top. There you go, another click. So that gives clearance for the head to go down, and then put the head back. And then you've got these two little nubs here on top of the shoulders to pull out the arms, set them free, and pull those down. And on the wings, got this offset hinge to allow it to fold all the way back. This was very stiff when I first got it due to the thickness of the chrome, but that's fine, that works now. So you get it to stand up. Here's a sword accessory. Now the peg for the sword is a tad too wide. It does go in, but it feels like it's mushing up the handle a little bit. And the holes on his wings, ports for the missile launchers, is slightly too small. I think they might not have taken into account the thickness of the chrome, or they just didn't make it the right size, I'm not sure. But neither of these actually fit in there. I'll have to drill that out slightly, very carefully, with a sharp drill to make sure I don't chew up the plastic. But apart from that, I think this is a fantastic representation of the character of the original toy. Now with the instructions, they are printed rather nicely, and inside you find the tech spec, which is what you use to read the specs on the back of the packaging. You get a little heat sensitive Autobot insignia. You get a few of the factory applied stickers, and you get the normal stickers that you would have put on if you bought this originally. Now on these must have been photoshopped, but the actual cutting out of the stickers is a little bit off, it seems. Maybe a little bit offset. But you know, for what you're paying, it seems okay. The Autobot symbol looks a bit odd, looks like he's been punched in the nose. His nose is a little bit too wide on the Autobot insignia. But they seem okay, I'll apply those in a bit. And the instructions. These must have all been redone in Photoshop with some high-res scans for the images. Proof of authenticity. Yes, very authentic. But yeah, I think that's a great representation of the G1 toy. It's nice and weighty. I'll have to do a little bit of modification to get the missile launchers to go on the wings, but apart from that, I think that's pretty good. This is probably the best G1 KO I've seen online. That's why I bought it, and I'm happily not disappointed.
Secondly, as a youth for animal rights activist, I feel responsible for the well-being of that animal.
He's fine. He's a kid with his first tricycle. I'm gonna go see my dad at Kankesky.
Was your dad at Kankesky Rock when that accident happened?
Yeah. let's get you fed.
Alright, so now that I've applied all the labels that came, apart from the Autobot symbol, because that's a little bit messed up. I left those off because they go on the forearms, but the forearms do have a split in them, so I think that is going to come off. However, I do have some labels from Toy Hacks for the Autobot logo, so I'll be adding that one. Alright, so there he is, all labelled up, giving the wings a little bit more detail, and certainly the robot mode chest and arms, going down to the legs and the shins, the feet, and on the back, see a bit more detail here. And we've got the faction symbol heat activated. If it will work now, not sure. And we've also got the tail there as well. You can just make it out about there. But yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much for indulging me in this discovering G1 Transformers through KOs. And hopefully there'll be another one soon. But until then, thank you and take care. Oh, I nearly forgot the missile launchers. Now, they're actually too long. That's the reason why they don't actually fit in. So that rounded edge is actually stopping it from staying in place. So I'm going to use some nippers, do some gentle cuts around the edge so it's even. So we've got a sharp edge rather than the rounded edge, and I'm hoping this will just go in. There we go, it does. Alright, now I can add the rockets. There we go, there we have him.